Vietnam, the country nobody saw coming. You're looking at a country most people still get wrong. 22 million visitors came here in 2025. That's not a small number. But here's what matters more. Most of them left confused about what they actually saw. Because Vietnam doesn't fit the story you expect. This isn't a country recovering. This isn't a place stuck in its past. This is 102 million people who decided what happens next, and they're moving faster than almost anyone realizes. 1,650 kilometers from north to south. 54 different ethnic groups, one nation that somehow holds it all together. Most countries this diverse fracture. Vietnam doesn't. The economy grows 6 to 7% every year. 70% of the population is under 35, the world's second largest coffee producer, the largest cashew producer on Earth. But numbers don't tell you what it feels like to be there. Street food vendors earn Michelin stars. Tech startups born in back alleys get funding from Silicon Valley. Ancient temples sit next to buildings that didn't exist 5 years ago. This is a country that protects what matters and throws out what doesn't. And almost nobody sees it coming until they're standing in the middle of it. So, let's go there. Let's see what 22 million people came looking for. And more importantly, let's see what most of them missed. Hanoi, the city. That refused to choose Hanoi has been Vietnam's capital since 1010. Think about that year for a second. 1010. Most Western cities didn't exist yet. Hanoi was already deciding things. 8 million people live here now, but the number doesn't explain the feeling. This city was built on the Red River Delta. The name literally means city within the river. And when you walk through it, you understand why. Water is everywhere, not just the river, the humidity, the rain, the way everything feels like it's breathing. More than 600 temples and pagodas. 36 streets on the UNESCO World Heritage list. But here's what tourists miss. Hanoi isn't a museum. The old quarter looks ancient because it is ancient. But it's not preserved like a relic. People actually live there, work there, the same way they did 900 years ago. Every street has a name that tells you what used to be sold there. Hang Bak, Silver Street. Hang Ma, Paper Street. Hang Gai, Silk Street. These craft streets were established in the 11th century, and they're still active, still producing, still operating exactly how they were designed to operate. Most cities would turn this into a tourist attraction. Hanoi just keeps working. Now let's talk about coffee. Vietnam is the world's second largest coffee producer. You probably didn't know that. Most people don't. But here's the interesting part. The Vietnamese learned coffee from the French during colonization. Then they completely changed it. Ca, Pho, Soi, Da. Strong Vietnamese coffee, sweetened condensed milk, ice. You drink it sitting on a tiny plastic stool on the sidewalk. Not in a cafe, not at a table, on the street, where life is happening. The French brought coffee as a symbol of sophistication. The Vietnamese turned it into a street ritual anyone can afford. That's Hanoi in one drink. Then there's Train Street. You've probably seen the photos. Tiny alley, buildings on both sides, train tracks running straight down the middle. It looks like a tourist gimmick. It's not. People live there, run businesses there, raise families there. Several times a day the train comes. Everyone knows the schedule. Cafe owners pull in their tables, street vendors step back. The train passes within arm's reach of people's faces. Then it's gone. Tables go back out. Life continues. To visitors, it's Instagram content. To locals, it's Tuesday. Hoan Kiem Lake sits in the center of the city. The name means Lake of the Returned Sword. The legend says this. In the 15th century, King Le Loir found a magical sword in the lake, used it to defeat the Chinese invaders. After the victory, a giant turtle surfaced and took the sword back. Sounds like a fairy tale. Except in 2011, a rare giant turtle actually lived in that lake. When it died, the entire city mourned. They held ceremonies, built monuments. Whether the legend is true doesn't matter, the city believes it. And belief shapes reality more than facts do. But to really understand Hanoi, you need to eat. In 2016, Barack Obama sat on a plastic stool in a bun cha restaurant, ate with chopsticks, drank local beer. The moment was photographed. The restaurant became historic. But here's the truth, you can find food that good on literally every corner of Hanoi for $2 to $5 per meal. The best pho isn't in the famous restaurants. It's in the stall where the owner has been making the same recipe for 40 years, where locals line up at 6 a.m. Hanoi doesn't try to impress you. It just is. And if you pay attention, you realize that's more impressive than trying. Ha Long Bay, Wary Earth. Forgot to finish. Ha Long Bay is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But that phrase doesn't prepare you for what it actually looks like. Imagine 2,000 limestone islands rising straight out of emerald water. Some are massive, some are tiny, all of them are covered in jungle. It looks like the planet's rough draft, like nature started building something and then abandoned it halfway through. Every boat journey here feels like you're entering the first days of Earth, before humans, before cities, before any of this mattered. The biodiversity is extreme. Over 200 fish species, 450 types of mollusks. Some exist only here, nowhere else on the planet. 6 million tourists visit every year. The Vietnamese government wants to increase that to 8 million by 2030. But they're also introducing strict rules. Single-use plastics are banned. The number of boats is limited. Environmental protection projects are mandatory. Most countries talk about protecting nature. Vietnam actually does it. Here's what most tourists don't realize. 1,600 people live on these islands. In floating villages, they fish, grow oysters, produce pearls. Some families have lived in the same floating house for generations. While tourists take photos, these families are living the same life their great-grandparents lived, on the water, with the water. Ha Long Bay isn't just a tourist destination, it's home. Phan Xipan, the roof of Indochina. Phan Xipan Mountain stands 3,133 meters high. It's the highest point in Vietnam, called the Roof of Indochina. Until 2016, reaching the summit required a brutal 2-day climb, serious hikers only, no shortcuts. Then they built a cable car. Not just any cable car, the longest cable car line in the world, 6,292 meters. You reach the summit in 15 minutes. At the top, there's a modern Buddhist temple complex, shiny, new, designed for tourists. Some people hate it. They say the traditional mountain experience has been ruined. That commercialization destroyed what made Phan Xipan special. Others love it. They say accessibility matters more than purity, that more people should experience this view. Both sides have a point. But here's what nobody argues about. The view is breathtaking. On clear days, you can see the Chinese border, mountains stretching forever, clouds moving below you. Whether you climbed for 2 days or rode a cable car for 15 minutes, the mountain doesn't care. The view hits the same. Da-Nang. The city is Vietnam. Betting on Da Nang is Vietnam's 4th largest city. 1.2 million people. But the number doesn't explain what's happening here. In 2000, the population was only 500,000. In 20 years, the city doubled. The economy tripled. Forbes called it one of Asia's most livable cities. My Khe Beach was named one of the world's 6 most beautiful beaches by Forbes. 30 kilometers of white sand, turquoise water. During the Vietnam War, American soldiers called it China Beach. Today, it's a surfer's paradise. Perfect waves. Water temperature between 25–28 degrees Celsius year-round. But Da Nang isn't resting on beaches. The Dragon Bridge opened in 2013, 666 meters long, crosses the Han River. It's designed to look like a dragon. 2,500 LED lights change color every evening. And here's the best part. Every weekend at 9 p.m., the dragon breathes fire. Real water, shoots out of its mouth. Thousands of people gather just to watch a bridge perform. Most cities would never approve something this bold. Da Nang built it anyway. 60% of the population is under 35. Technology companies are moving here. Startups are opening. Digital nomads are settling in. The city is investing heavily to become a smart city. Wi-Fi infrastructure everywhere. Electronic administration. Environmental technologies. Da Nang isn't competing with Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City. It's building something different. And it's working. Nay, hills, fantasy becomes real. This is where Vietnam stops making sense. In 1919, during French colonization, the French built a resort at 1,500 meters elevation. They wanted to escape the heat of Saigon and Da Nang. The village was eventually abandoned, became ruins in the 1940s. In the 2000s, a company called Sung Group bought the land, and they started building something impossible. First, the cable car system. This isn't a normal cable car, it's the world's longest continuous cable car line. 5,801 meters long, rises 1,029 meters, entered the Guinness Book of Records in 2013. The journey takes 20 minutes. Below you, tropical forests, waterfalls, dense jungle. You rise, and then suddenly you're in the clouds. Visibility drops to zero, you can't see anything. Then you emerge, and an incredible view appears. Ba Na Hills. It looks like a medieval European city, buildings designed like French architecture, cathedrals, cobblestone squares, but these aren't replicas. They're original designs, built from scratch, in the middle of Vietnamese mountains. 5 million visitors come here every year, and then there's the Golden Bridge. When it opened in 2018, it exploded on social media. Millions of photos shared. Time magazine put it on the world's 100 greatest places list. 2 giant stone hands hold a bridge in the clouds, 150 meters long, 1,400 meters above sea level. The hands look ancient, weathered, like they've been there for centuries. They're brand new. The weathered look is intentional. The design represents God's hands lifting the mountains, created by Vietnamese architect Vu Viet Na. Construction took 1 year. Walking on the bridge feels surreal. Mountains on one side, clouds on the other, wind blowing, clouds moving. Sometimes the clouds are so thick you can't see the hands holding you. Then it clears, and you're staring at a 1,000-meter drop. Inside Ba Na Hills, there's everything. 5-star hotel, restaurants, cafes, shops, fantasy park, a 3-story entertainment center, wax museum, alpine coaster, freefall tower. There's even a wine cellar. Real French wine cellar built in 1923 contains 300 varieties. There's a 27-meter-high white Buddha statue. At night, Ba Na Hills transforms. Thousands of LED lights, laser shows, music. Temperature drops to 15 to 17 degrees C at night. Meanwhile, Da Nang below is 30 dC. The French knew what they were doing when they chose this location. But Ba Na Hills is controversial. Environmentalists say natural habitat was destroyed. Cultural experts claim the Disney-style development damages Vietnam's authenticity. Economists disagree. They point to jobs, income, regional development. The Vietnamese government plans to make Ba Na Hills a sustainable tourism model by 2025. Whether it succeeds or fails, one thing is clear: nobody else would even attempt this. HOIN, where time moves differently. AI is perhaps the most photographed city in Vietnam. Every evening, thousands of colorful lanterns light up. Yellow buildings, narrow streets, lights reflecting in the river. It looks like a postcard, like something designed for tourists. It's not. This is a 2,000-year-old port city, an important stop on the maritime Silk Road, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Between the 15th and 19th centuries, Hua An was one of Southeast Asia's most important trading ports. Chinese, Japanese, Dutch, Portuguese merchants came here, traded silk, porcelain, spices, precious metals. The city grew rich, expanded, beautified itself. The Japanese bridge, Chua Kao, was built by the Japanese community in 1593. The bridge is also a temple. It's Hoi An's symbol. Its image appears on Vietnam's 20,000 dong banknote. Hoi An's lanterns are famous worldwide. Every color, every shape, every size, traditionally made from silk and bamboo. Today, masters work in workshops producing hundreds daily. On the 14th day of every month, the full moon, the city turns off all electric lights. Only lanterns are lit. Lantern Festival. Thousands of people fill the streets, release wish lanterns on the river. As night falls, floating candles and lanterns on the river combine with red lanterns hanging from yellow buildings. Each boat sells one product: mango boat, pineapple boat, dragon fruit boat. To advertise what they're selling, they hang the product on a long pole at the front of the boat. From a distance, you immediately know what each boat offers. This system has worked for hundreds of years. Nobody sees a reason to change it. PHUQOC, the island at the crossroads. In the Gulf of Thailand, 45 kilometers off the coast, lies Phu Quoc, Vietnam's largest island, 574 square kilometers, home to 80,000 people. For decades, Phu Quoc was Vietnam's best-kept secret. While millions of tourists flocked to Thailand's islands, Phu Quoc stayed quiet, undeveloped, pristine. That's changing fast. 2012, Phu Quoc International Airport opened. 2020, the island gained Special Economic Zone status. 2024, over 5 million tourists visited. The beaches are spectacular. Sao Beach on the southeastern coast consistently ranks among the world's most beautiful beaches. White powder sand so fine it squeaks under your feet. Water so clear you see fish swimming around your legs. The beach curves gently, lined with palm trees, almost untouched by development. Long Beach stretches 20 kilometers along the western coast. This is where you watch the sun set over the Gulf of Thailand. The sky turns impossible shades of orange and pink. Beach bars and restaurants line the shore, but they're tasteful, low-rise, blending with the environment. Phu Quoc's name means rich land, but it could also mean Pearl Island. The waters around Phu Quoc produce some of the world's finest pearls. Since the 1990s, pearl farming has been a major industry. At pearl farms, you can watch the entire process. Divers bring up oysters that have been growing for 3 to 5 years. Each oyster is carefully opened. If done wrong, the pearl is destroyed. Inside, if you're lucky, a perfect sphere catches the light. Cream-colored, pink, tinged, or rare black pearls. Vin Wonders Phu Quoc opened in 2009. Massive resort complex, amusement park, water park, safari, aquarium, golf course. The cable car to Hon Tom Island is the world's longest sea-crossing cable car. 7,899 meters over turquoise waters. Critics call it overdevelopment, worry about environmental impact. Supporters say it brings jobs and infrastructure. The truth is complicated. Phu Quoc is racing to develop before it loses what makes it special. The challenge: can you become a world-class resort destination without becoming another Phuket or Bali? Over-touristed, overdeveloped, soulless. The Vietnamese government says yes. They point to strict building height restrictions, protected forest zones, sustainable tourism initiatives. We'll see. As the sun sets over Long Beach, the sky transforms. Orange bleeds into pink, pink into purple. Fishing boats silhouette against the horizon. A few tourists sit at beach bars nursing cocktails. Most are just sitting on the sand, watching. Phu Quoc stands at a crossroads. Behind it, decades of quiet island life. Ahead, an uncertain future of rapid development. Will it find balance? Can an island be both wild and developed? Both traditional and modern? One thing is certain, this moment won't last. This version of Phu Quoc is changing faster than anywhere else in Vietnam. Visit now and you're witnessing a transformation. Come back in 5 years, it will be a different place. The soul of Vietnam. 3,300 kilometers of coastline. 54 ethnic groups. 4,000 years of history. Vietnam is not simple, it's full of contradictions. Complex, multi-layered. Between north and south are 1,000 kilometers. But culturally, they're like two different worlds. Hanoi is calm, conservative, traditional. Ho Chi Minh City is dynamic, open, modern. Both are Vietnam. The Vietnamese people are perhaps the country's greatest wealth. Kind, hospitable, resilient. 1,000 years of Chinese occupation, 100 years of French colonization, 20 years of American war. Each time Vietnam resisted. Each time it stood back up. Today, GDP growth is 6-7%. Poverty has dropped from 70% to below 5% in the last 20 years. The young generation is Vietnam's future. Educated, ambitious, connected to the world. In Ho Chi Minh City, hundreds of tech startups are launching. In Hanoi, international companies are opening regional headquarters. Vietnam is becoming Asia's new tiger. Vietnamese cuisine is a candidate for UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage. Fresh ingredients, balanced flavors, healthy cooking techniques. But most importantly, food isn't just nutrition. It's a social activity. Families eat together, friends chat for hours, business meetings happen over meals and coffee. But Vietnam doesn't want to repeat the mistakes of mass tourism. Sustainable tourism models are being developed. Cultural heritage is being carefully preserved. Vietnam is a treasure waiting to be discovered. In every corner, a story. In every dish, a culture. In every person, a lesson. From golden bridges above the clouds to floating markets at sea level. From imperial palaces to street food stalls. From modern skyscrapers to thousand-year-old temples. But perhaps Vietnam's greatest beauty can't be measured in numbers. It's in a street vendor's smile, in an artisan's hands, in a child's laughter. Vietnam isn't just a place to see, it's an experience to feel, taste, live. Vietnam is calling, ready to be discovered. The only question is, are you ready?